Welcome back, team. You're gaming with the Colonel, and this is a tutorial for Strategic Command WW2 World at War, and it's on morale. So this was requested by one of my subscribers, so that's what we're going to do. So I pulled up an old save game here, and we're going to take a look at some unit morale. In the beginning of the game, all units have a morale based on their supply. And so if a unit is stationed in Prague, its morale would be 100. If it's stationed in Pilsen in the beginning of the game, it's 90, and if it's here, it's 60, right? So mostly the units along the border, where the Germans are in the beginning of the game, have fairly high morale. 8s, 9s, and 10s for the most part. So that's only in the very beginning of the game. That's after that, everything is calculated. When you add a new unit to the game, let's go over here and add an Italian unit. Can't seem to add him for some reason. That's funny. Let's see if can we add these guys. Okay, so we have a garrison over here. When you add a new unit to the game, he comes in at 50%. Regardless of where you put them. So let's put them here. We check morale for this particular unit. You can see that morale is 50%. That's for every unit, regardless of where, when, whatever. It's 50% when you first put them out. Okay, so new units in the beginning of the game start with the morale based on their supply, their supply level times 10. New units coming in are always 50%. And after that, there's calculations. Okay, so the calculation is as follows. This guy is 59%. All right, now I'm going to get my little handy dandy calculator out here. And so he's currently at 59%. The new morale next turn will be the old morale times 75%, right? And then, oh, this was bad. Didn't want to do that. Ugh. Sorry. Anyway, so the new morale is the old morale times 75% plus the strength, in this case 7, times 10, which is 70, minus the old morale times 75%. So old morale times 75%, if I can make this here work. For some reason, I keep getting, let's see, close. Okay, so here we go. So looking at my calculator, he's got a morale of 59%. All right. His strength is 7, so 59% times 7 is 4.3. All right, so his strength times 10 minus the old morale times 75%, so it's 70. 70 minus 4. Okay, so that's 69. And then you multiply that times the supply divided by 10. So supply divided by 10, supply is going to be 6. Right now it's nothing. So 6 divided by 10 is 0.6 times the old morale divided by 100. And then you put all those numbers together and you come up with the new morale. So here's the bottom line. What you really want is high supply and high strength in order to get higher morale. All right, that's the bottom line. High supply, high strength in order to get higher morale. That said, there are some things that will adjust this. For one is research. If you have infantry warfare, you get to add 10. All right, so really his morale is currently 49, but because, oh, I'm sorry, that's a tank. But an infantry unit, they use 74. He's really 64, but it's plus 10. All right, so there's some things that affect your morale. One is force marching. If you force march a unit, you're going to lose between 50 and 65% morale. So let's force march a unit. This guy right here, he's currently at 125 morale. If we force march him from 125, he went all the way down to 54. So he lost 75 morale on that. It's ridiculous, ridiculous. Force marching is ridiculous. Now, if you operate somebody, let's find somebody to operate. Okay, let's operate this guy. All right, so he's currently at 104. Operational movement will reduce you up to 25%. So let's operate him. Oh, I can't there. Why can't I? Oh, he's not on a rail line. All right, so let's take this guy who is on a rail line. He's currently at 88, and we'll operate him. And we'll operate him to here. 88, and now he is at 75. Okay, so that was a little bit less than I thought it was going to be. It depends on how far he goes, but between 15 and 25%. A unit swap is also between 15 and 25%. So a unit swap is when you take a unit, you hold the shift key, you swap them out like this in place, and you lose morale for both units. All right, so those are three things, movement things that will affect morale. The other thing that will affect morale is if you're the defender, an attacking unit will reduce your morale. An army will reduce your morale by 10% if you are attacked by an army. A mechanized or a shock army will reduce your morale by 20 if you're attacked by one of those. Special Forces 20, Paratroopers 20, Partisans 15, Rocket Artillery 25, Field Artillery 10, Heavy Artillery 20, Railgun 5, Coastal Gun 20, Rockets 5, Armored Train 10, Tanks 35% morale reduction if you're attacked by a tank. That's why tanks are so important. Heavy tanks, 50% reduction in morale. He will crush your morale. Now, once your morale gets to the point where it is grayed out here, it won't reduce as much anymore. And there's additional ones. Kamikazes reduce morale a lot. Everything else is, and medium bombers 50, strategic bombers 15, tactical bombers 30. All right. So those are huge, huge. Also, there's 2 additional morale penalties. When a country surrenders, there's a morale penalty. And if you liberate a country, there's a morale bonus. Now, morale is restricted to 125%. Can't go any higher than that. Right? So I've got a couple of units up here that are 125% morale. And that's good because once you start using them, and moving them and operating them, then the morale goes down. So it's always good to have high morale. High morale is better, along with readiness, for attacking. Low morale is bad for attacking and defending. Okay, so there you have it. There's a long, complicated formula that has to do with how the new morale happens every turn. The new morale equals the old morale times 75% plus, and this is in parentheses, strength times 10 minus old morale times 75% times, and again, this is in parentheses, supply divided by 10 times old morale divided by 100. All right. There you have it. That is the morale tutorial. I don't know that anybody's really going to go into that deep and try to figure out their morale every turn. The bottom line is make sure you have good supply, high strength, and your morale will go up. All right. You've been Gaming with the Colonel. Please like and subscribe. Come back early and often. And don't force march. I'm out.